Whenever our need, whenever our thirst, whenever our hunger pushes us to be impatient towards God, something is absolutely wrong. And that was the reality of the Jews today. They were thirsty, it was natural. It's supposed to be. But then, how did they ask God to give them that? The reading told us that they started murmuring, they started, speaking a hell of nonsense towards Moses and God. Even at that, God reacted as God himself. He gave them what they wanted. They were physically thirsty and they were physically satisfied. We can all be thirsty in one way or the other. But how do we quench this thirst? Whenever our worldly needs, whenever our thirst pushes us to be impatient towards God, it means that that thing has become a nuisance to our spiritual growth. It means that we have to be very, very careful. In the gospel of today also, the Samaritan woman thought that she was physically thirsty. She went to the well to get some water. That was okay, nothing bad. But when she went there, she met Christ, who spoke to her. At the end of the day, she realized that she was not just physically thirsty, because the reading of today told us that she left her water jar there and went back to the town to call people. This was a woman that came late because she was not capable of mixing with people. But now she has to leave. This was a woman that was also thirsty. She told Christ, give me that water so that I will not be thirsty again. Give me that water so that I will not be coming here again. Meaning that she was really thirsty. But when the time came, when she met Christ, she spoke with Christ, she left her water jar there and went back. Those people that she was avoiding, she went back to evangelize them. That is the reality of it. It was just like the experience of the two brothers of Emmaus. They were walking with Christ, after resurrection. Christ was explaining things to them. And at the moment they told him, no, it's already late. Come and stay with us. We can eat together. Tomorrow you can continue. No problem. Christ came at the fraction of the bread. They saw that this was Christ. At that very moment, those people who were telling somebody it was already late, they themselves, the Bible told us that they woke up again. They went back to Jerusalem that night. Whenever we meet Christ, we are never the same. Whosoever meets Christ never remains the same. And during this Lenten period, the church wants us to meet Christ again. We have to listen to Christ. If we want to make our faith to grow, we have to start listening to the word of God. And the Bible tells us that faith comes through listening. And that is what the church wants us to discover during this Lenten period. And my question for us today, just for us to continue our meditation at home, is, deep inside you, have you encountered Christ? What is the position of Christ in your life? After here today, maybe we come again next Sunday. We'll be here again next Sunday. But then from now to next Sunday, what are your encounters with Christ? Personal prayers is very, very necessary for our spiritual growth. It's very, very necessary. I don't know how many of us here have their Bibles at home that can open it and read and listen to the word of God. That is it also. The Catholic Church tells us that the family is the church in miniature. The church in miniature. That is to say that the family is the church also, but in a very small version of it. In our families today, do we come together as a family to pray? Do we come together to listen to the word of God? If not every day, we can make our program. We say, okay, maybe this day we come together, we listen to the word of God. Okay, no problem. If you want to wake up in the morning, we have to pray together, or everybody has to pray in his own way. But do we have that culture of talking with God, of encountering God always in our private moments? We need to develop that habit. And I always tell people that the Lenten period is a period to cultivate new virtues. And what is virtue? They will tell you that virtue is the repetition of an act, a positive act. It becomes a habit. And a habit is what we call today a virtue. Sometimes we can think that we are physically thirsty, that just like the woman. But in reality, you find out that no, we really need Christ in our lives. If we have the whole world, we need Christ for it to balance. And when I say that we need Christ, coming to church is part of it, but then our personal relationship with Christ is very, very important. Let us today take the place of the Samaritan woman. Let us go to the well. Let us go and meet the Lord. He is already waiting for us. Christ was sitting down at the well and the woman came. Christ is already there. You are the one that is called to realize that he's a prophet. Engage in discussion with him. Go deeper. Open a space for him to habit you, and you see that things will begin to change. Your way of saying things will begin to change. Thirsty, yes. But then, we are thirsty of what or for what? Thirsty, yes. But how do we seek to quench that thirst? Worship God in spirit and in truth. Yes. What does that mean to me today? What is my relationship with God? After this Mass today, do I have personal moments with Christ again throughout the week? The Lord be with you.